First thing in the morning, the commanders attend their final weather briefing.
I believe the forecast given last night to be accurate.
It is now that Eisenhower utters the historic words.
Okay. We'll go.
2 hours later, officers in the Army, Navy and Air Force open their sealed orders. These are the final instructions for the next day. Glendickin, waiting on board ship, is told he will land on Juno Beach in front of the small port of Courseulles-sur-Mer. His commanders know his job will be difficult and dangerous. This is a known stronghold of the German infantry. The news comes through to Cliff Morris after morning roll call.
5th of June. Then came the orders to move. And after forming up, we are again inspected to make sure that everything is in order and nothing missing. We are then handed pamphlets to read, which are in effect a message from General Eisenhower. And these pamphlets, although given out in moments of great excitement, are kept and treasured by many of the lads.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark on the Great Crusade. The eyes of the world are upon you. You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of the Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. We will accept nothing less than full victory.
On our arrival at the dock area, the brigade assembles in a group of fields which run along to the water's edge. From where we stand, we have a good view of our craft, lying at anchor. On board, we can see signs of activity, and the radios with which we are equipped are blaring away with dance music. Who in the world would guess our mission could they see this lot?
At Nantes, on the Atlantic coast, Walter Schwender still has no inkling that the subjugation of France is about to come to an end.
Dear all, thanks very much for the 40 marks travel expenses I received today. This time it took rather a long time for it to get here. This is of course the situation with the postal service, nor is it any wonder. Otherwise, everything is still absolutely fine for me, and I hope the same goes for you. Lots of love to all, Walter.
By the end of the afternoon, the biggest armada the world has ever seen is leaving England's south coast. Among more than 150,000 troops on board is Commando Cliff Morris.
Time is now 1800 hours, and the crew starts to lift anchor, and we proceed to move. What a feeling. I do not think that at this moment anyone has a care in the world.
That evening, Andre Heinz tunes in as usual to the BBC.
On Monday the 5th, at last I heard, les dés sont sur le tapis, in French, which means the dice are on the table, which was the order for the Green Plan. It was mostly the job of the railway people that had to blow up trains or blow up rails or unscrew rails to stop transportation along the railway lines. So the next message was for the Purple Plan. It was "Ne faites pas de plaisanteries," don't make any jokes, which was the order for cutting telephone lines. And I must say that those that did the best job, well, the people working at the post office in the section, telephone section, that knew which lines were used by the Germans and who modeled as many lines as they could.
Similar messages are received all over France. This is the signal that the resistance, assisted by British agents, must rise up against their German masters and come to the aid of the landings.
We had different groups, and I would be the one to relay the instructions to one group to another and transport some of the weapons, and with the help of the French people. Well, we just did what we had to do. We'd bicycle around and do the jobs we had to do, and there was no question of hiding, except being careful, very aware of security.
In London, after dinner, Churchill tells his wife,
"Do you realize that by the time you wake in the morning, 20,000 men may have been killed?"
Eisenhower, meanwhile, has left his headquarters. He is driven through the summer twilight to watch the first of the paratroops depart. Afterwards, there are tears in his eyes. The great plan to liberate France has now swung into action. 13,000 British and American paratroopers are the first to go. They'll be dropped behind enemy lines ahead of the sea-borne troops. Among them is Bill Tucker.
As it gets late in the day, there's a sense of tremendous anticipation, a quiet feeling in the air. I'm thinking, as is everyone else, whether I'll make it, or how many of us will make it. But there doesn't seem to be any apprehension, much more of a feeling that everyone shares of being part of a monumental historical undertaking.
Everybody's in the seat they should go. And then, of course, you heard this roar of planes all over the field, moving. I could see through my side, plane coming down the runway, taking off. And then all of a sudden, our pilot's on the runway. I had a real sense that I was involved in a big part of history. I don't mean to be dramatic about that, but I had the makeup that was able to sense, hey, this is big, you know. I don't think that we would have said it was an honor, but I know damn well we were thinking it was. Nobody was looking to be the first guy over the top of the trenches, you know, unless it was some nut. But we had a sense of honor at being the battalion that would take St. Mary-Glise. There was no question about that.
D-Day, Tuesday, June the 6th, 1944. 800 aircraft carrying British and American paratroopers cross the French coast.
There was ack-ack explosions, and some of us thought we could see traces, and I thought I saw a tracer hit the plane. We got the order to stand up and hook up, and the plane's shaking like hell. So Leonard says to me, "Jesus Christ, Tucker, we don't get paid enough for this job." I think that those were immortal words.
One of the first people to see them land is Henri Renaud, then a 10-year-old schoolboy. He still lives in the village of Sainte-Mère-Église.
During the night, we have seen paratroopers landing on the square, but we don't know if it was American or English paratroopers.
As scores of US airborne land in and around Sainte-Mère-Église, Henri Renaud decides to have a closer look. But nothing can prepare him for what he finds.
He was hanging, and his foot was at maybe 1 meter from the soil, and I touched his foot, and I remember that the body was swinging at the end of the parachute, and one American soldier was here, and he said me, "Don't do that, get out."
As it grows light, the news comes through that the Germans appear to have deserted their posts. By 5 a.m., the Americans are in control of the town. But Bill Tucker's job isn't over yet. The German infantry are planning a counter-attack.
At the other side of town, we gather in a small, closed-in apple orchard. We stay there for some time before getting orders. It gets pretty hot, and I realize how tired I am. I don't feel like doing much talking. Just before we move out, someone starts firing at us. It certainly is lucky that none of us is killed.
Little do the Germans know that the full contingent of the invasion troops lie waiting in the channel, just off the French coast.